University, a time of discovery, of studying, socialising, and of initiations. It's no secret that students have a bit of a reputation when it comes to alcohol, whether it's in the SU bar, at a house party, or even pre-drinks in the communal kitchen. You can't escape it. But nothing is as alluring, dangerous, and exciting as student initiation. In theory, initiations are meant to welcome you into a society. You complete a silly task to prove your worth, and you're in. But in practice, what starts off as harmless fun can quickly take a turn for the worse. So the question is, what are initiations really like?
Dude, Barber, any final thoughts?
Now, they've become a part of student life, but our initiation ceremony is getting out of hand. The BBC has been given footage showing students lined up against a wall with bags over their heads, drinking and vomiting while being paraded down the road by their leader, who is wearing a Nazi-style uniform.
Sounds extraordinary, doesn't it?
Initiations are not a new factor of university life, but with the neck nomination craze now hitting the headlines, it's ever more important that we draw awareness to this topical issue. We took to the streets to ask the general public to share their thoughts on initiations.
You hear about kind of stories, like horror stories and, I don't know, stories from friends and stuff about having to eat various nasty substances.
I definitely
No, well, yeah, there's one a kind of form of roulette which I won't go into. I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, anything's possible, right? With initiations.
People just need to use common sense and think, would I want to do this myself? And what are we going to gain from it? I mean, having maybe playing a little drinking game or something, people can join in and they can stop when they want to. But doing something that's just public humiliation for the sake of it, or harming animals, who's gaining from this?
Because if you're doing it because you think it's fun, then that probably means you're part of the initiators. Whereas if you're doing it for the rest, then that's because you're probably less socially, I don't know, you're having a less good time socially and you need to make a vehicle.
I took part in a hockey initiation. There was a lot of drinking involved, really. Unless you were a big drinker, you didn't really stand a chance.
I could have walked away and come back the next day and gone, yeah, not to worry. But at the time, if we didn't, I'd get called a wuss or something like that.
The levels they go to is just, they push it too far. I think the sports societies do push it too far and they shouldn't allow it.
Unfortunately, things getting out of hand can end with students putting themselves in severe danger of illness, accidents and even death. Over the past 5 years, 3 students have died after taking part in initiations at universities in the UK.
Welcome to Gloucester Uni.
This footage obtained by the BBC shows students at the University of Gloucestershire taking part in one of these organised rituals. Here you can see them with bags over their heads, drinking and being sick as they take instructions from a Nazi-styled leader.
I can make the Nazi drink.
Yeah, I think I was on a bit of a high after I beat you at pool.
Yeah,
Natalie Sutton took part in a similar ceremony. She says it was an experience she'll never forget.
We had to do what the older girls told us to do, which involved eating fish from our bras, making us eat animal food that was just vile. And if you didn't do it, you got yelled at. And then we had to go out as a club. We had to face walls. People were crying. It was a horrible experience.
The reality is that alcohol is a significant part of university culture. In fact, excessive drinking has become a very normalised part of life. Jessica Lewis, a second-year student in London, shares her experience of being initiated.
So when I initiated, it was kind of during the plank craze, so we had to, in our teams, think of the most outrageous places to do planks, for example, in like our SU's bar, near our favourite like chicken shop, in the library, anywhere that was really funny. There is always the option not to drink. Obviously the vast majority do drink and they kind of embrace that side of it, but I've never felt compelled that I have to drink or that I've been forced to drink. But yeah, I guess drinking does take quite a big role in it. There's been a lot of articles in the media about what is acceptable and what isn't, and obviously there are some clubs and some universities which do push the boundaries of what are acceptable. However, my experience of it has been absolutely fine. At the end of the day, these girls are my friends. It's just a normal session that you'd go out with your friends and you'd have a good night. that's pretty much, like, it's all about having fun. These girls are my teammates, like, we train and we play matches 3 times a week with each other. You do get close. Our social sec, who runs the sessions, is absolutely lovely, and she would never try and peer pressure someone into doing something that they didn't want to.
Madison Layton, a third-year student at a London university, spoke to us about the impact initiations have on the social side of uni life.
I think it should be just as easy not to drink as it is to drink. You go where your friends are, so if all your friends are going to drinking initiations and there's not another event happening, then you're going to go. In any other situation that wasn't an initiation, I think people would be like, why are you doing that to someone? But because it's an initiation, it's acceptable. Just like at work, you wouldn't expect to go into work and somebody's like, oh, here, have a beer. Oh, drink 50 beers before you do your first day of work. Like, it's not okay. It doesn't happen at work. It shouldn't happen at university. And there are arguments that if you put in place restrictions, then they might kind of go underground, like in America, and then they can't really regulate what's happening. But I do think that if you're an institution and people in your societies, people in your athletics union are pressuring new students to drink, that's a huge failure.
The subject of initiations is so controversial that students of LSE, the London School of Economics, even held a debate on the matter. Needless to say, there were many interesting responses.
Attendance and participation are entirely voluntary. We must trust and treat our students as intelligent, responsible adults and not attempt to regulate what we feel is necessary for them by overzealous bureaucratic red tape.
Jack told you in his speech that no one has died at LSE yet from drinking initiations. Well, thank God for that. Does someone really have to die before we actually decide that we need to take action on these kind of things?
The fact that you're saying that alcohol is kind of an intrinsic part of these initiations just isn't true. The fact of the matter is those that choose to consume alcohol at the AU initiations choose to do it themselves.
Nothing the university can do that will limit the amount of the type of beverages, the amount of beverages, the amount of drinking itself will not change. There will still be problems because the situation is an endemic one.
When people are, when their lives are threatened, when they are humiliated, when they are bullied, that probably it's a good idea that the student union takes a stance against it and says, actually, you know what, guys, this isn't okay and it shouldn't happen at university. We see these practices are going on, and they're taking no stance against it. We believe that it is the moral duty of the AU and the student union to protect the well-being of students.
There is an intrinsic link between binge drinking and athletics at university in the UK, and it's much the same in the US.
It goes without saying that banning initiations would not work, but there are measures that can be put in place to make it a safer and more inclusive activity.
Alcohol-fueled freshers events are not something which necessarily need to be prohibited, but events where alcohol is merely incidental or even not present at all should be encouraged and offered to the larger student body.
Do you think someone might be put off by the idea of it?
Yeah, definitely. I can see how the concept of initiation, especially how it's presented by the mass media who don't actually know what really goes on, because to know what goes on you'd have to have experienced initiation yourself. So yeah, I guess if you soak all that in, then it's very easy to think that initiation is a really scary thing, when people force you to drink and you end up and force you to do awful things. I think it's down to your own experience though, which shapes it.
Do you think the purpose of a session is to get you really drunk,
I think
wasted?
Each individual goes to session with their own aim, and then each individual adheres to that aim.
But rather than demonising those who choose to drink excessively, perhaps what we need to do is encourage a better attitude to alcohol, provide alternatives in Freshers' Week, and ensure that all SUs have a protocol in place to protect the welfare of their students, so that those who do not wish to drink or perform challenges do not feel that they must compromise their values to get the true university experience.